Okay, so let's move on to the next presentation. We've got Zayo, who are going to come to the stage now. And yes, Tema Hassan, and some details about Manchester.
Thank you, Jess. Good afternoon. Tema Hassan, I'm the product manager for IP services at Zayo, and I'd like to thank LINX for giving me less than 48 hours to throw this together. It's given me an opportunity to talk about some of our infrastructure developments. I hope you guys find interesting. So, Manchester, the technical powerhouse of the North. If you listen to Andy Burnham, well, that we've seen now the consolidating hubs of places like BBC, ITV. We've even seen government departments relocate their services up to Manchester. The Department for Work and Pensions are up there. But there's an absolute hive of now activity from the altnet community in Manchester there as well as the hyperscale presence, increasing their presence there. We heard yesterday from Frederick speak about their expansion into MA5. There's Amazon on-ramps there now at MA3. So this year at Zayo, we invested a fair amount into Manchester. We had some dark fiber assets out there, and earlier on this year, we invested a fair amount to expand our presence there with dark fiber. We had existing assets across the science park and throughout the city, and we took the opportunity to invest into expanding our presence there down to Teledata in the south and into the north to Equinix, MA5 and MA6 as well. But we're not just focused on the data centers. We also took the opportunity to get our fiber to the BT exchanges, into the media hubs, and also into the stadiums and the arenas, as well as the typical enterprise locations throughout the city centre as well. All in all, we're looking around about nearly 90 kilometres of new fibre that's been laid into Manchester there as well, and mainly deployed using PIA services. But a lot of this metro expansion, it now gives me the opportunity to move on to my next slide. And I'm glad to be able to talk about this publicly for the first time. So as part of our expansion this year, we took the opportunity to purchase and invest into new capacity, transatlantic capacity for our IP network from Manchester directly to New York. And this is a terabyte of new capacity connecting our core router at Manchester directly to New York. And that gives the ability, it avoids London completely, having that direct route as well. You may have read recently, back in September, Aquacomms have just landed their new cable, AEC2, into Ireland. That's now, we've bought capacity from these guys, and we're just waiting for them to finish off their operational testing and handing it over to us. And we're looking for this new capacity to go live in the next 2 weeks or so. This is a brand new capacity, hopefully before we enter into the network moratorium in December. So why do we do this? We're always looking at increasing our capacity across our network, especially important backbone links across the transatlantic routes. And I know on this particular map, we've got many routes across the Atlantic, which we use, a lot of them for our wave network. But our IP network, we currently use the FA1 subsea system, as well as Vodafone Apollo South and Dunant. So we took this opportunity. We need to buy more capacity anyway. Let's look at if we can diversify our routes across the Atlantic. So we discussed this internally, and we ended up choosing AEC2. And this gives us some more diversity to enter into Europe through Manchester. So another one of these reasons is, as a consequence, having all this capacity into Manchester, it means this benefits all of our customers pretty much in the northern England. It's connected to our core router, and any of our IP customers now connected into our Manchester area now have the ability to go transatlantic without being backhauled down to London as well. The other reason with a brand new cable like this from Aquacomms, it's also 400 gig capable. And although the 400 gig capability on this won't be ready yet on day one from Accocoms, it's coming very soon. And it's given us a chance to prep our own backbone infrastructure in Europe ready for those 400 gig connections transatlantic. And on the final point on this is with Manchester and our upgrade into our network in Europe, we're now looking at connecting Manchester directly over to Amsterdam. That avoids London completely. So all of our customers and our connections in Europe will be able to take advantage of this new connection directly one hop away from places like Amsterdam and Frankfurt directly to Manchester transatlantic. And with that, thank you very much. Lightning talk, any questions?
Any questions?
Brandon.
Oh, we've got one down here.
I can't see your map clearly, but that was just Manchester, yeah? Are you planning to do something similar further north, like up in Scotland somewhere?
So the question was, are we looking at something further north? We'll always look at any particular routes. We know there's a number of cables that are coming into Scotland and on the eastern side of England as well. So as opportunities present themselves, we will look at taking capacity where it's needed, yes.
Okay, I was just thinking in terms of the previous talk about getting the UK to have some reasonable diversity and be autonomous. Another route to do that is to make everything not depend on London, which you've done a bit with this. But the further north you go, the bit more protection you get.
Exactly, and the key ones I can think of off the top of my head are things like the Altibox cable coming into Newcastle and the North Sea Connect that goes over to Denmark. If we have an opportunity to take capacity in there, we will do.
Thank you, Brandon. Right, any last questions? Okay, well, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.